Welcome back to The Fish here on OTP 26. As you can see, we are one day until the offseason. Let's just sim this last day, and then boom, it'll be the offseason, and we'll see our grade. You know, it's taking forever to advance because this game is slow for whatever reason. I literally just opened this thing 5 minutes ago. And obviously, we have a very poor score with a 172. That's to be expected. You know, we did not do well. I thought we did a bit better than we could have been. Like, we could have been like all-time generational bad, especially with our pitching staff. But you know, it turned out to be slightly better, not totally a disgrace. So take a look at the mail and news here. Once again, why is it taking so long to load? We literally just booted up the game. I do not have a bad PC. Worst running OTP game ever. The award goes to OTP 26. All right, there's nothing really too interesting in here, just that our budget has been set. We have $184 million available for our team expenses. This should allow us a $90 million team payroll. And then we also have our... Can we actually click on the goddamn thing, please? We have our... we've had our player devs to the $25 million. The draft budget, I mean, it probably does not need to be $22 million. I never spend that much money in the draft, even when we have a high draft pick. So just for now, I'll put it there. Why is the International Amateur on 0? We definitely do not want that on 0. And then the scouting will stay at 20. So as it stands right now, we have $81 million available total, and we have 51.3 available for extensions. And then before we actually get embarked on the offseason here and see what we actually are going to do and actually get in the process of making these moves, just a little rundown of some notes that I wrote for potential ideas and just thoughts that I had about this offseason heading into it. 1, we need more leaders. If we go to the team chemistry page, I could have sworn, club lacks veteran presence. I could have sworn one of the player complaints for a while was that we had a lack of leaders. But we need more veterans. We need more leaders. We need to get like a leader or two in the clubhouse this offseason, whether that's a pitcher, whether that's a catcher, backup catcher, whatever it may be. Backup catcher is usually a good spot to get one of those sort of guys. I do think that another thing I've written down is that I am not opposed to bringing in multiple like veteran starting pitchers. So if we take a look at guys we have listed at starter, let's just clear this for now. Let's just clear the pitching staff. Guys we have listed at starter, really, out of all these guys, I really only think that like Yuri Perez, Ryan Weathers, and Balazovic are guys that we're looking at as like actual starters for next season. Balazovic has that 5th spot, just because, you know, maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here with him, but I liked how he performed in those couple starts. Obviously, we're not going to go in as like before the offseason even starts, before we even look at the free agency, being like, oh yeah, Balazovic, he's penciled him as number 5. But like he's a guy I would not be opposed to having as my number 5, but I'm basically just looking at, out of all these guys, these are really the only 3 that I'm looking at as like their actual starting pitchers. And then maybe Sam Bachman. Sam Bachman we would like to be a starter, but, you know, we'll just throw him in there just in the mix just in case. So like these guys are maybes, these guys are for sure. Cabrera, I think that he's just a reliever. I don't think this control is going to be good enough to ever be a starter. He's always going to have walk issues. He's had home run issues basically his whole MLB career. And I just think that he is a guy who's not going to be good enough to be a starter. He has a 45 overall, 45 potential. He was not good in the rotation for us. He was not good in the rotation last year in real life. And then he was kind of just like okay in the rotation in 2023. So he's also outspoken. So he could be a guy we either trade or we just move to the bullpen. He's also low leader and low adaptability, so who knows if he can even adapt to the bullpen. But Edward Cabrera, let's just go ahead and say that he is a reliever. His overall goes down. His stuff ticks up, and his overall goes down. That makes no sense to me. Very weird. Very weird. So maybe we leave him as a starter and we try to trade him. He's 27. He's going to be a guy who is probably entering arbitration quite soon. Why am I... Where are the C's? Here we go. So he's entering arbitration for 2026. So if we look at the arbitration, he is already here. He is arbitration eligible. He's going to be making $3 million this year. Braxton Garrett is. Oh, I also forgot about Braxton Garrett and Max Meyer. Okay. So if we go to the injured list here and we pull these guys off of that, and let's just say Balazovic and Bachman are off that. So then we have somebody like Braxton Garrett, who, I mean, I doubt they're going to be able to fill this up to very high because he's hurt. But Braxton Garrett on here, Max Meyer, we think he's the guy who can start. And that's 4 right there. I'd probably do something like this where it's like righty, lefty, righty. And then 5. But like overall, like I'm not totally opposed to pushing really any of these guys to the bullpen, is really what I'm saying. Now that this long-winded explanation of what my thought process was, I'm not opposed to really pushing any of these guys aside from Yuri Perez and probably like Ryan Weathers. But I mean, even Ryan Weathers, I mean, I don't know. These 4 guys are pretty, they seem like they could be pretty decent, but like Yuri Perez is really like the only one who has like really like could be a serious dude for us type potential. But basically what I'm trying to say is if we go out and there's like 2 to 3, maybe 2 like interesting veteran pitchers out there in free agency that we can bring in on like 1 to 2 year deals that just can come in and be like solid, steady starting pitchers for us, I would not be opposed to go out there and sign guys to like 1, 2, maybe even 3 year deals just to come in here and just be like a solid presence in the rotation. And pushing maybe 1 or 2 of our current starters into the bullpen, which, you know, should theoretically strengthen the bullpen and just help our pitching depth in general. Another thing, when it comes to the offense here, if we take a look at our, let's just throw this by position here. Agustin Ramirez, I think we might just run him back at catcher next year because, like, he was good offensively, but he was good offensively, like, for a catcher. You know what I mean? Like, if you had a 114 WRC plus at first base or DH, you're just kind of like, okay, you're like, you're slightly above average, you're like fine, you're whatever. But if you're a catcher with a 114 WRC plus, that's when it's like, holy shit, this guy can really hit. Because catchers are just that bad at hitting. And 55 framing is only 5 off from like the guys we're looking at trying to go and get. I think Jake Rogers is a bit more, but then like I said, if you move him to first base, his bat isn't like that level of bat, I feel like. So he's really good hitter for a catcher, but he's not a first baseman DH type bat. It's kind of in like that weird gray area where he's not quite an elite defender, but his bat's also not good enough to be a first baseman. So I think we're just going to run him back at catcher and hope that we can get like a lucky dev lab boost or something with him when it comes to the defense. Another thing is that we do need some more pop in the lineup. We did. I feel like we hit a decent amount of home runs. Like we got some guys with pop. Like Griffin Conine's got 55 power. That's a decent pop. Derek Hill, he's 45. He had 15 home runs. CJ Alexander is probably not a guy who starts for us next season. He is probably going to be a bench player. Let's just go ahead and clear all the lineups here and then also clear all the depth charts. CJ Alexander, probably not a guy who starts for us. So let's just go ahead and say Ramirez is going to be our catcher. Brooks Lee will be our second baseman. He theoretically should have a decent amount of pop too, just hasn't quite developed to 50. But a full season of Brooks Lee, we would... Did I call him Brooks Lopez? Did I just say that like a second ago? Brooks Lee here, he would theoretically be a good boost to the lineup here at the power. So we would have him. Connor Norby, 55 power. We definitely want him somewhere in the lineup, whether it's DH. Maybe he's first base for us. Maybe we'll make him learn first base. He's only 5'10", though, but not really that it matters to me much. But let's just say that he's the DH for now. So Connor Norby's in the lineup somewhere, wherever it is, either DH or first. Derek Hill is our center fielder, probably. Griffin Conine, we probably want him playing right field because I think that this can play right field. Maybe we play him in left, maybe we play him in right. And then I'm over here just looking at our minor league system, trying to find Jacob Marcy, who I want to just bring everybody up to the major leagues right now just so we could get a clear view at like who all our guys are. And I don't see him. Where is Jacob Marcy? He's not in the 40-man. He's not in AAA. He's not in AA. He's not in high A. He's not in A-ball. I even checked the waivers to see if there was some dumb bullshit there. No. Where is Marcy? What? Oh, he's in the Arizona Fall League. Okay. So he doesn't appear on my roster because he's in the Arizona Fall League? What? Why does it not, like, alert me to that? Why does it not tell me that he's in the Arizona Fall League so he's not going to be on my goddamn roster anywhere? That's yet another oversight by the devs in this. If you have a guy who goes to the Arizona Fall League so he's not even going to appear on your roster when you're looking here, he's not going to be on the injured list, like on a assignment, there's just nothing. There's no is he even in like the transactions? Is it going to say if I go to just complete transactions list? November, no. October, no. There's nobody in, there's nothing in here. So yeah, there's just nothing. There's just nothing. It never alerts you. I did get an email at one point about that the Arizona Fall League was doing their, yeah, like here, AFL opening day. A little bit before that, I had roster selection deadline. I had the draft league was alerted as well. But at no point did I ever get an email being like, here are the players in the Arizona Fall League. Here are, I never got a email being like, oh, Jacob Marcy's in the Arizona Fall League. So if I didn't like think to look him up here, I would have just been like, what the fuck happened to Jacob Marcy? Why would that be in the game? I understand why the Fall League would be in the game, but why would there not be a thing that's telling you, hey, this player's not going to appear on your roster for like 2 months. He's not actually just disappeared. He's just on the Fall League. It seems pretty self-explanatory to me. It seems like basic shit. But, making a text-based game that also doesn't feel like dog shit when you're playing it also seems pretty self-explanatory to me. And it seems like that's just, out the window this year, too. But, the line must go up. The card game money line must go up. All right, now I completely lost track of where we are because the game is just fucking broken and I have no idea what's going on. But, just imagine that Jacob Marcy is penciled in somewhere in this outfield situation, whether it's the fourth outfielder, whether it's the left fielder. He's probably going to be as a part of this because he can play left field at a very high level. He can play both corners at a very high level. Same with Drew Gilbert. He might end up being the fourth outfielder start again, but we're definitely wanting to give these guys a lot of time, even our fourth outfielder. So Drew Gilbert, let's just say that he is the backup at both these positions again. And then Ronnie Mauricio is obviously going to be our third baseman. He's going to hopefully give us a lot more pop here with a full season of him if he can develop this power up to 60. And then we have Graham Pauley. Graham Pauley, I feel like he deserves to be the first baseman, at least out of the gate. He was so good for us down the stretch. I mean, he deserves to be the first baseman. So Graham Pauley should be the first baseman. Maybe we give Norby some time at first base in spring to learn the position so he can just give us some versatility there rather than just being a bad second baseman, a bad third baseman, and a DH. Just as an option, we'll probably do something like that. And then really what it comes down to is Max Acosta. I just don't think he can hack it at shortstop. He put up a 2 WAR for us with a 129 WRC plus. The BABIP ran extremely hot. His bat was impressive when it came down to that, but like it was, like this, even if this all develops, he's still like an average gap power, below average eye, sort of just like singles hitter. So it's really not impressive to me, a guy like that. So we might even look to trade him this offseason because I just don't think that he's like, I don't think he's the long-term shortstop. I think that Starlin Caba is the long-term shortstop, and I think we need a stopgap shortstop, and it's not going to be Max Acosta. Max Acosta, however you say his name. I'd imagine it's probably the turn double play 55 that makes him lesser at shortstop, because the 70 range is plenty playable at shortstop. It says he's a 60 rating there, but he puts up a bad ZR. Even it was a bad ZR in the minor leagues. You could see there. So maybe we give him another shot and just see if like a full season of Max Acosta at shortstop can hack it, or maybe we trade him and we sign like a stopgap out there. But we'll have to see who's in free agency before we do that. So let's just for now put him as the shortstop. And then left field will probably be some combination of Marcy and Gilbert. And I think that one of Xavier Edwards and Otto Lopez, one of these guys is going to get traded. And I'm kind of leaning Lopez, to be honest. Lopez is older. He's better defensively in the infield, but Edwards should be able to play a third base. In the spring, we'll definitely be playing Edwards all over the place to get him situated with positions. Like, he'll be playing third base in spring. He'll be playing both corner outfield spots. He should be able to play left and right field with 60 range, you would think. So we'll give him some time. And I think he does expect to be in the starting lineup. He is very unhappy about that. But I just like him as a player more than I like Otto Lopez. And I think they're both very similar players. If you compare them, yeah. So Lopez has a bit more gap power. Okay. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Lopez is better because he has the gap. But then the contact and avoid K goes to Edwards. Especially when it even comes to the potential, it's like way better if he reaches his max potential. The eye goes to Edwards. He's got the better speed, the bunt for hit, the stealing aggressiveness. He just seems more interesting to me. So I think I prefer trading Lopez if I'm going to trade any of them. And Edwards would be like a utility guy who just plays like just everywhere as a backup defender. So he'd be like backup second, backup third. Let's just say he's backup there. And then also in left and right. So Edwards just all over the place. Norby backup first baseman. Conine probably like backup DH. Paulie probably, we'll see. We'll see, maybe either Paulie or Ramirez getting some time at DH possibly as well. And then maybe Alexander makes the team. Maybe he starts in AAA, but he probably ends up as like backup first, backup third. Does not play the outfield anymore. I don't think he's an outfielder at all, especially here in our system and here in our field. Liam Hicks, I just don't think is going to be around. If he is, he's probably going to be in AAA. You know, probably worth keeping around just to be a AAA catcher because he was decent at the plate for us, but I cannot just run into another season with him as our backup. We might even just do Joe Mack as our backup catcher, even though I went here to look at it and he's not here because he's in the fall league and it never told us. Because why would it? Why would you be alerted that you're going to have multiple players just removed from your roster and not appear anywhere unless you manually go to this and then look through each individual team? No. Why would you do that? Why would you make it so it makes no sense either? We had one guy who was like a 40 potential in the fall league, but like Wilfredo Lara, who just won the MVP of AA, he's not going to be in the fall league. Gabriel Gonzalez isn't going to be in the fall league. None of those guys in the fall league. Thomas White not in the fall league. Pretty sure Starlin Caba. Yeah, Starlin Caba not in the fall league. Why not? Who knows? De Los Santos not in the fall league. And that is another guy, De Los Santos, who gives us some serious pop, but where is he going to play? He is Rule 5 eligible, so we'll just call him up right now and just see where he would mix in. Like, he would be first base. I really don't think he's third base. Like, he'd give you a bad third base, so I just think he is a first baseman. So De Los Santos would be like... He would be the CJ Alexander, essentially. So I guess overall, De Los Santos is better than CJ Alexander, but it's just Alexander's lefty, De Los Santos is righty. So I don't think I want to trade him. He's still only 22. I think he's useful to have. He still is going to have all his options to start the season. Whether, he might go down to AAA to start the year, we'll have to see. But his 60 pop is just something that we need, and it's too good to overlook right now. So he'll at least head into the offseason as a part of the mix. But like I said, Otto Lopez, probably somebody we're looking to try to trade from his strength, maybe get a pitcher for him. We want to possibly acquire a stopgap shortstop and either trade, or maybe there's not a stopgap shortstop and we just roll with Acosta at short and hope the 70 range can hack it over a full season. Don't really 100% want to do that, because I do think that we do need to make like a couple decent signings of guys just to like improve slightly. Like obviously we're not going to go from 69 wins to like a 90 win team in one off season, but would I like to be like a bit more competitive? Like, could we like be a team that misses out by the wild card by like 5 games? Maybe that's within reach, I feel like. So basically our goals for the position players are stopgap shortstop, really good outfield defense. We're just hoping that Conine can do that next season. And whether it's Gilbert, Marcy in left field, a combination of them. Edwards is going to learn some corner outfield, some third base to give us some more defensive versatility coming off the bench. Mauricio is going to add some pop to the lineup for a full season. Hopefully he can tap into some of the 60 potential. We'll probably have Robbie Snelling up in the big leagues at some point this season. Who knows if he's going to be an actual factor or not, but he'll probably be up at some point. Thomas White will probably be looked at some point this season as well. We've got this Alex Williams guy who was in AA and AAA for us last year. He put up decent numbers between both of them, mainly in AA though. And he's a 45 out of 45. A little bit intriguing, but definitely more so of like a Brian Mendoza level sort of guy, where he's like a depth starter, multi-inning reliever sort of player. Josh Eknes, he is going to possibly factor in for us this season as well, whether he starts the year in the team or not. He is not Rule 5 eligible, so he might not start the year on the team. But we'll have to figure out what Rule 5 eligible guys we want to call up, what guys we want to not keep around. And just overall, I do feel like our bullpen, our staff, is in a better spot than you would think. I like a lot of our bullpen guys, especially if we sign like 2-3 veteran starters, push some of these guys to the bullpen, and make the bullpen depth even stronger. And then, also bullpen is just very volatile, so from season to season, you can't really expect the same exact performance. So, we got a really weird season from a guy like Tinoco, who had a really good FIP minus, really good FIP, and he just got unlucky with the BABIP and the ERA. If our defense improves, you would be like, theoretically, he would be a much better reliever and a solid player to have. But, he could go in next season and just be dreadful and have like a 120 FIP minus. So it's just a toss of the coin with these guys. But, that's why I like having as many of them as possible in the system. And I like having as many possible, like, team controllable, plenty of options guys. And you can see Tinoco here not with plenty of options. And when it comes to guys on arbitration here, Derek Hill, we do want him to be our center fielder. We might look to even like give him maybe like a multi-year extension, to be honest. Maybe we try to trade him. We'll see. We'll probably see what's out there for Derek Hill. Trade him if there's something like not that we can't pass up. And if there's not, we probably just re-sign him for multi-years, and maybe like hopefully he could just be a really good center fielder for us. Fortes not coming back. Rodriguez will come back. Perdomo obviously will. We claimed him. Nardi is going to come back. Seth Martinez, he had a weird year for us where he was like okay for a bit and then fell off. He's extreme fly ball. He's 31 years old. We are not bringing back Seth Martinez. He also probably has no trade value. Calvin Fauché, somebody we might look to trade, but if there's no value, we'll probably just bring him back. Same with Bender. If there's value, we'll trade him. If there's not, we'll bring him back. Ryan Weathers we're going to bring back. Max Myers we're going to bring back. Braxton Garrett we're going to bring back. And Edward Cabrera. Either we trade or we move him to the bullpen. So if we went and shopped Derek Hill in a multiplayer package here, it's just a lot of like teams trying to dump off bad contracts, like the Yankees trying to give us both Stroman and Giancarlo Stanton's contract. Just getting it back. It's like the White Sox trying to give us like a bunch of like veterans who are not equal to Derek Hill's value. The Mariners trying to give us Randy and like a couple like late not great guys, late prospects, like late 20s guys. Kikuchi, no, Marcus Semien and Valdi, like they're interesting players, but they're also both 35 years old. The A's trying to give us Seth Brown. The Red Sox trying to dump off Masataka Yoshida's deal. The Pirates trying to give us Ke'Bryan Hayes' deal. Nats trying to give us Nathaniel Lowe. Really the only interesting one is the Brewers are trying to give us Garrett Mitchell and Blake Perkins for Derek Hill, which, like, on the surface is, like, something that you're like, okay, that's interesting. Like, Garrett Mitchell kind of just looks like a straight upgrade. At least ratings-wise. Maybe not. Like, Power and I, as they're doing they're mowing the lawn outside the window right now, you might be able to hear it. So maybe it's not a straight upgrade. Mitchell does have the better speed, although the speed is, or like the stealing aggressiveness and whatnot, although it's not like anything major. The aggressiveness is, but like the ability, like it's not like Derek Hill is lacking in stolen base ability. The power, though, it's the power in the eye. It's the power in the eye that is the big plus for Garrett Mitchell, but then Derek Hill has the +5 BABIP. And he's 2 years younger. But Derek Hill is apparently extremely popular locally. I don't know. I like Garrett Mitchell has not proven it in the sim. Like, he just put up a full season with them. He played in center field every day for them and put up a negative ZR and did not hit. So yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're just gonna extend Derek Hill, I think. Because the rest of these are like this Barrios Loperfido deal is probably the second most interesting one. There's also this Reds one that's like Trevino, Brady Singer, and Will Benson, which is like okay, but I still think I'd rather just have Derek Hill, especially since we're kind of moved off not moving Ramirez to first base and DH, and we don't need Trevino to be a backup catcher for us. So I think we're just going to extend Derek Hill. Then, like, the Cardinals are trying to dump us both Contreras and Sonny Gray. The Tigers trying to trade back for Derek Hill, giving us Casey Mize, Ty Madden, who's really not that special in this game. He's a 45 potential. And then Matt Vierling, who is, he's Matt Vierling. He's cool, but he's Matt Vierling. So yeah, none of these trades equal Derek Hill's value. We're just gonna let's see what the prospect package would be for him. Okay, so the most interesting one here to me is, I guess this is kind of interesting. Guardians would give us Cooper Ingle and Angel Martinez, who is more so a really good corner, can also play you like a good third base, but he can't really play you a center field. His bat isn't that intriguing to me because it's mainly avoid K and his BABIP is bad. And then Cooper Ingle, same sort of thing, mainly avoid K, but he does have the gap power and the really good eye, and he's a good catcher. But I don't know, I still think I'd prefer Derek Hill. Maybe I'm just overthinking this because, like, he's just not gonna do, there's no chance that he does this again next season. There just isn't. There's no chance he does this again. He's gonna have like a 2 WAR and like an 80 WRC plus next year, and I'm gonna be like, we should have traded him. And by far the most interesting prospect, or I guess there's, the Reds are trying to give us Noelvi Marte, who is not a shortstop anymore. Not something we're looking for, but there's Marco Luciano, who's also not a shortstop. This guy is definitely just a third baseman. He would just be like Ronnie Mauricio. Why was I drawing a blank on his name? He would just be like another Mauricio, but maybe a bit better overall, where he has the gap power could get to 60. He has the eye as well. Mauricio does not have the eye. But like, we can't have 2 third basemen. This guy's major league ready. We can't have 2 third basemen. If we get him, then we're just back in a situation where it's like, okay, what does he play first? We put Mauricio at first. We put a DH. Where does Norby play? Second, we move Lee to where? Like, it causes like a whole more logjam. I don't know if I want to do that, and I also don't think I don't think I want to do just straight up because these other guys suck. Man, are we gonna regret not trading for Marco Luciano? Are we gonna be looking at Marco Luciano in 3 years from now and being like, this guy's one of the best power hitters in baseball, and we could have had him for Derek Hill, who had 1 good season and then fell off? But if we trade for Luciano, where does he play? Where does he play? Do we trade somebody if we trade for him? Like, is Graham Pauley then on the outs? That could be something. Like Mauricio, Luciano, maybe Norby. I like Norby, though. I probably like Norby more than I like Pauley, to be honest, because he has the 45 BABIP. What could we get for Graham Pauley? If I just go single player center fielder. Jung-Hoo Lee. I am a hooligan, but I'm not doing that. It's just not happening. I'm not going to trade for Jung-Hoo Lee's contract here in Miami. It's just not happening. He's also a horrible player in this sim. He is not what he is in real life, where he is sick as hell. In this, he is a negative 1.8 WAR player, a 64 WRC+. He put up a negative 12 ZR in center field. Graham Pauley has like no trade value. Why does Graham Pauley have no trade value? He just put up a really good season. Alrighty, so we have gone ahead and added in 10 guys to our player development lab for the first round. We decided not to do Ramirez because I'm assuming this still works the way it did last year, where if you do it on the first day of the offseason, you will be able to get 10 second player dev slots open up. So once these guys go through it, these 3 to 4 months, it'll be like bam, second day of spring training, something like that, and then you can get a bunch of defense dev labs run through here as well. Assuming it still works like that. If it doesn't, then I just goofed and we're not going to have Ramirez getting anything. But I'm assuming it still does. I haven't heard anything about the dev lab saying it doesn't work like that anymore, so we're just going to assume that. And these are the 10 guys we picked for the first set. Ronnie Mauricio, we are trying to generate bat speed. We are trying to tap into that 60 power. Please do it. Brooks Lee, we are trying to tap into plate discipline. I thought about power, but we're going to go plate discipline with him. Try to possibly just get like an elite eye. Be this like a really, really good like 1-2 hitter for us. I mean, the power potential's already 50. 45 power is not too shabby. So if we could just get like an elite eye to go with the avoid K and the good contact and gap power, he'd be a damn good player. So, I mean, he's already looking like he could be a damn good player. So Brooks Lee, we're hoping can tap into that. Connor Norby, same thing. We're hoping to tap into some eye here. He already has 55 power, 50 gap with 55 potential. He's already got 60 BABIP. If he can just get his eye up, possibly get on base more, use some of that speed more often, that would be fantastic. Davison De Los Santos, he's already got the 60 power. Can we get the gap to complement that? I thought about eye, but it wasn't really worth it to get it up to 45. Maybe, maybe not, but we're going to go gap power and see if he can not only be a home run hitter, but also be a doubles hitter for us. And then we did Sam Bachman, increased pitch movement. Pretty self-explanatory. We want him to tap into this, maybe even get some better potential pitch movement. I thought about possibly doing secondary pitch improvement, but I thought movement was the more worthwhile one to go for as an extreme ground ball pitcher. So Sam Bachman, that's what we're going for. Drew Gilbert, trying to tap into some of that power here. Right now he has 45 power, 45 eye with potential 50 on both. Same for BABIP. I thought about eye once again, but I just think he's better off if he can get some more home run power as a corner outfielder. So we're going for that. Wilfredo Lara, the man who just won the Southern League MVP. I believe that's what it was. Yes, the Southern League MVP. He also won the Glove Wizard Award at third base in the Southern League in AA. So just a really, really good year for Wilfredo Lara in AA. And we're going to try to tap into the power. If we can get this power up to be even better, maybe he jumps up to a 50 potential. Maybe he's much more of an interesting prospect than he already is, where right now it's kind of like interesting enough bat, but we'll see if it actually develops. If we get the power up even a ton, we get like a Juan Padilla type boost, that would be fantastic. Thomas White is our 9th player on the list here. We are trying to improve his movement. Right now it's 55. Where it's 55 potential, 45 total. Once again, I thought about secondary pitch improvement, but we just went with movement. I could have gone control too, but we're going movement. So Thomas White, we're tapping. Honestly, now that I'm looking at this, I kind of feel like I do want to go control. So Thomas White, we'll X out of that, and then we'll go back down to Thomas White here. And we are going to go control on him instead. So Thomas White, we're going to try to tap into this control instead of the movement. And then Xavier Edwards, we are going gap power on him as our last guy on here. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If this gap power was 50 or above, he would be much, much more respectable as a hitter with this speed, with this contact profile. So we're going to try to tap into that here for him because he's the guy we're going to be trying to keep here as like a bench utility guy rather than Otto Lopez, who we are going to be looking to trade. And also Edwards has the high adaptability, high work ethic. So hopefully that plays into part with the dev lab. And those are the first 10 guys we are putting in here. So we're currently shopping Otto Lopez, and we're getting a couple kind of interesting deals. The most interesting one to me so far is Marcus Stroman and Luis Gil for Otto Lopez. Stroman would just go probably straight into our rotation. He's a high leader, work ethic, baseball IQ guy. He only has 2 more years, or he has 1 more year. So he's 2025. He's already played through. He has 1 more year. So we would be trading for 1 year of Marcus Stroman is the thing. And like, you know, Bendix is like, oh, they're offering an overpaid veteran, and it's like, it's a 1-year deal, man. Are we going to get a pitcher better than Marcus Stroman in free agency to be like a 1-year, 2-year guy for us? Probably not. And he was like a 2-WAR pitcher last year. He was like slightly below league average on both ERA plus and also FIP. Yeah, like a 4, mid to low 4 on both of them. He's Marcus Stroman. I also just checked our front office page here, and our team focus has apparently shifted into win now mode. Okay, I guess. Our owner is pretty demanding. Yes, he's demanding patience, so I guess that does check out. But pretty ambitious there, Mr. Bruce Sherman. All right, so Anthony Bender once again has no trade value, so we're not going to be trading him. So we've gone ahead and just offered all these relievers just like 1 year, like a couple underneath what their arbitration estimate is. They should accept those. And then just full disclosure here, Braxton Garrett and Ryan Weathers are both guys who, when you go to offer them, they're immediately like, hey, let's talk long-term extension. I don't know. I mean, these are very team-friendly deals. The thing about Ryan Weathers, though, is that I don't think he's, 45 changeup, 45 sinker as his number 3 pitch. He's got a 55, a 50, and then, I don't know. But it also just seems like everybody's ratings are way down this year. So am I looking at this in like a view of what it should have been the last few years? Or am I looking at this how it appears everybody is? Because it just seems like everybody around the league has horrible pitches. Like, there is not anybody out there who's just like a really like nobody has 4 good pitches, really. Nobody has 3 good pitches. It just seems like everybody has just awful stuff. So many guys in this league, for whatever reason, are guys that have like 50. They have like good movement and control, horrible stuff, and horrible pitches. Why is that like every 50 grade starter I see? So maybe this is actually a really good player, and we do want to sign him long-term. But then also, I don't want to sign him long-term, and it turns out that I was actually wrong, and once we get a couple years into this, that's just not going to be the case. So who knows? Braxton Garrett, I don't think I want to give a long-term extension to because he's coming off Tommy John. And like this, exactly. This is like every 50 grade starter we see. 50, you're like a 50 overall, and you're like, okay, that's a good player. But then it's a 50 movement, 60 control, bad below average stuff, below average fastball, and an entire arsenal. So I don't know, maybe it's because the control plays it up. But I still am not going to give him a long-term extension because he's coming off Tommy John. Ryan Weathers, though, is 25. And, I mean, to me, it just looks like this is like a not starter outlook long-term. But maybe it is. Coming off a 2 WAR. Not the best season of all time, but... And the thing is, the extension he wants is so incredibly team-friendly. He'll give us 3 years of free agency through his age 31, and it's sub 10 million? Like, that just seems crazy. All right, so we shopped this a bit to where we lowered these prices a bit, and I think we're going to offer this to him just because, like, we're going to be keeping Ryan Weathers through his arbitration years. So this is all, like, a little bit lower than he was offering, and then we dropped this down by, like, 1.3 million for these 2 free agent years. This was 8.8. We dropped it to 7.5, and then 8.5 for the team option season with a $2 million buyout. You know, he's only going to be 31 for that season. If he's good for us still, you know, I don't see why we can't pick that up. And this is all sub 10 million. Like, this just makes sense to me that, like, this is a very team-friendly deal. You know, it just makes sense to me. So we're going to go ahead and do it. Ryan Weathers, boom. And then in case you're wondering what type of trade value Edward Cabrera has, it's nothing. I mean, it's just like, here, have a bad veteran, or not a bad... Christian Javier is, I guess, probably bad at this point. Yeah, he's coming off a bad season. All right, so we have set up a 2-year extension for Derek Hill. He is projected to get 3.6 in arbitration this year. He wanted 3.9 in this thing, so we gave him a bit higher than that. He's earned that. He's earned a 3.75 for next season, but then he's projected to get like 7 point something for season 2. 2027. So I dropped that down a ton, gave him a bonus for an all-star selection. We're going to have 2 more years of Derek Hill here at a very team-friendly price, and hopefully he can just give us 2 years of very, very solid center field. So we just got a random trade proposal from the Texas Rangers for Emiliano Teodo. This is definitely a guy who I noticed at multiple points throughout last year, same with the Angels, and he just looks like he could be a really good reliever. Now, he had a really bad year last year between a AA and AAA. He was really good in high A. You would hope a guy who's 24, almost 25 would dominate high A, but I mean, the control is a problem. The home runs are a problem right now, but it could get up to 50. And he has a 70, possibly 80 grade slider, a 50 changeup right now, possibly 55, a 55 sinker that could get up to 70. He throws super hard. He can give you multi-innings. I just feel like he might be worth having instead of Fauché. But I mean, Fauché, like, we do like his ratings. I don't know. Because if we get rid of Fauché, then we're going to have to replace him in the current alignment of the bullpen. But I feel like we probably can. Like, if we get rid of Fauché, let's just say he's no longer part of this bullpen alignment. This makes it so we have 7 guys in the bullpen, and then we could just add any one of these guys, except for Fauché here, to that 8th mix. It could be Mendoza, it could be Fulton, it could be Edward Cabrera, it could be Ortega, it could be Balazovic, it could be Declan Cronin, it could be Tinoco. It could be some guy in AAA who we haven't called up yet, like somebody like, where is he? Somebody like Eknis down in AA. It could be him. So it could be Teodo himself. So I think it might be worth trying to get this done. Now, they want us to throw in this 17-year-old who I do not want to throw in. So what if we go discuss trade and I remove this guy? Now they'll, like, give us Derek Hill. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't matter who I add into this. They just will not take it unless I give them that prospect or better, who was Kevin DeFrank. He is a 17-year-old. He's a teenager, but he's got the holy trio here: adaptability, work ethic, baseball IQ. He is an extreme fly ball, but he's, like, so far away. And Teodo is, like, he's close enough to the big leagues to where he is interesting. He would have all 3 options. And then Fauché does have like multiple years of team control, but the thing is he's already 30. So like he does still have 4 more years of team control, including this season. But it's age 31, age 32, age 33, as opposed to Teodo, who has all his options and is 23 years old. Or he is 23, right? 24. He's almost 25. So he's younger. You know, Fauché can't find... I think it's 45. Yeah, so Fauché's control is a bit better. I mean, I've always liked Fauché. And this is his potential as a starter, too. So if we drop him down to reliever like we think he'd be, this could go up. Although, like, you would think Edward Cabrera would go up, and Edward Cabrera went down. So is he going to be one of those guys who just inexplicably goes down a potential? We're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. We are just gonna go ahead and complete this trade. Boom. Calvin Fauché has been traded to the Texas Rangers. We're gonna make our former Fish shortlist here and put him on the former Fish shortlist. The moment of truth. He goes up, baby. He goes up. Emiliano Teodo. And he is Rule 5 eligible, so we should probably just call him up right away just to make sure he's on the roster. And we've got ourselves a possible pretty crazy reliever here with the 80 grade stuff slider potential. And today is November 16th, which is when the Most Valuable Player Award gets announced, which is the end of all the awards getting announced. So just a quick scroll through of every major award here in the National League. The MVP was Shohei Ohtani. Pretty self-explanatory. He hits and he pitches. So 3.7 WAR as a hitter. Scored, he had the league lead in runs scored. He had a 4 ERA as a pitcher as well, because apparently in this universe he is not hurt to start the year pitching-wise, and is just fully healthy both sides of the plate, and or both sides of the game, I guess you could say. And he does his thing. 36 doubles, 31 home runs, 100 ribbies, 109 runs, 834 OPS, 46 swipe bags at a 90% rate. And then he puts up a 4 WAR with a 126 ERA plus and an 81 FIP minus in the rotation for them. He's insane. What else can you say? Ronald Acuna, he had a crazy offensive. I mean, this is the type of shit you have to deal with when you have Ohtani. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. He can put up 2 like solid seasons, and you combine them, and it's still better than Ronald Acuna, who puts up a 184 WRC plus, 427 WOBA, both league leading, a league leading average OBP slugging and OPS, 34 home runs, 39 doubles. I mean, he strikes out less than 20% of the time. He walks 12.4% of the time, 32 swiped bags. It's a 30-30 season. And still, it just doesn't matter because Shohei Ohtani's in his league. How about Matt McClain, though, here, huh? Top 5 MVP getter Matt McClain with a 4.9 WAR, 127 WRC plus, 25 home runs for the UCLA man. James Outman getting MVP votes with a 4 WAR season for the Dodgers. Yeimer Candelario on this list as well. That's pretty crazy. Then you have the American League MVP goes to Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox. Still playing third base. Oh, no, he's a DH. He played 14 games at third base, but he's a DH for them in this. And he puts up a crazy offensive season, 167 WRC plus, leads the league in WOBA, WRC plus, 46 doubles, leads the league, 48 home runs, 148 ribbies, sub 21.6 strikeout rate, 312 average leads the American League, 635 slugging leads the American League, and a 4-digit OPS, and then a 382 OBP as well, which is obviously extremely good. Crazy offensive year for Rafi. And then Julio Rodriguez. It was actually pretty close in the points total. Julio Rodriguez puts up a 7 WAR. He finishes second place. Jose Ramirez puts up a 6.9 WAR. He leads the league in actually he was tied with doubles, and then 109 runs was more than Devers. So Ramirez, very, very good season for him. You also got Wyatt Langford had 213 points here. He put up a 6-WAR season, 147 WRC plus, 45 doubles, 33 home runs with 33 swiped bags as well, a 30-30 season for him. Adley Rutschman with a good bounce-back season here in Baltimore. 5.6 WAR, 152 WRC plus, 26 home runs for the Oregon State man. Gunnar Henderson's on this list. Then it's Judge. Tarek Skubal gets some MVP votes. Cal Rowley's on here. Zach Neto. Adolis Garcia. Brent Rooker. And then in the National League, the Cy Young winner goes to the man who is rated way too good in this game, Roki Sasaki. I mean, this is just straight up some like MLB The Show rating type shit. Like, this is like, oh, highly touted Japanese guy comes over, even though we know that he's not actually like Major League ready, but he's going to be on the Dodgers because Dodgers. Like, I don't know what his rating is in MLB The Show, but it would not surprise me if he has like the same rating as like Ohtani. But in this game, he is just crazy. I'm sure he's going to win the Cy Young just like every year for the next decade. Because, of course, Justin Steele finishes second with the Cubs, leads the league in innings pitched with 215 and a third, also the lowest home runs per 9, apparently. And then Spencer Strider finishes third in voting. Dustin May with a little bounce-back season. Looks like he split the time between the bullpen and the rotation and was really good. We got 210 BABIP. Crazy year for Dustin May. And then in the American League, the Cy Young winner was Tarek Skubal. What the absolute fuck was that? The game, okay, so I need to explain to you, this game runs like pure shit. My game just tabbed itself out on its own. On its own, just tabbed itself out for no reason. And now back to going over the awards. Logan Gilbert finishes second in the AL Cy Young with his teammate Brian Wu right behind him. Tanner Houck actually on this list as well. Logan Gilbert we saw put up a 5-WAR season for the World Series champion Mariners, and then Brian Wu with a 2.8 WAR season. Tanner Houck put up a really good year. You know, in real life, he's not doing so hot, but in this universe, he's just once again doing what he did last year for the Boston Red Sox. And then obviously Sasaki gets Rookie of the Year. That's what really pisses me off, is that he comes in way overrated when it comes to the OOTP ratings, that is, and just dominates, wins Cy Young, gets the goddamn Rookie of the Year because he's a rookie. But I mean, like, Agustin Ramirez gets this any other year. Any other year, Agustin Ramirez gets Rookie of the Year. But no. Instead, we get runner-up because awesome. Graham Pauley and Griffin Conine also on this list. Did not realize that Griffin Conine was rookie eligible. I guess that does make sense. Love to be rookie eligible at 28 years old. That's always a good thing. Once again, especially when you have Jeff Conine's genes. American League top rookie was Luke Keeschel. Keeschel? Why do I not know this guy? Is this guy highly touted in real life? Is this like somebody that I'm like sleeping on in real life? I guess I just missed the memo on this guy. Second round pick in 2023 out of Arizona State. That's probably why I don't know him, is because Arizona State has been not good the past few seasons in real life. So like, you know, it's just impossible to follow college baseball unless you have like the most weird streaming packages. Like if you're paying like $8 billion a month so you can get like SEC Network, it's just impossible to watch. But I mean, when they were in the Pac-12, I had no clue how you would watch the Arizona State baseball team. But anyways, they don't make it to regionals the past few seasons, so I did not watch a lot of Arizona State, really at all, Arizona State baseball. So that's why I don't know who this guy is. But apparently, good prospect, and puts up a good season with the Twins and wins Rookie of the Year. Runner-up is Chase Majdroff of the Chicago White Sox, and then Mike Vasile of the Chicago White Sox behind him. Kumar Rocker, Kyle Teal, and Noah Murdoch is the rest of the list. I mean, Murdoch just kind of like they threw him on the end of the list because he had enough innings, but he did not have a good season. And then the National League Silver Sluggers. Did we have any players on this list? We did not. William Contreras beats out Ramirez for that award. And then it's, you know, usual names you would see on here. Lindor. I guess McMahon had a good season with Colorado. Matt McClain, who was top 5 in MVP. James Outman at center field, even though he was playing He's listed as right field now, but I guess he was playing center field for them. When it comes to reliever of the year, Trevor McGill gets the award for the Milwaukee Brewers. Behind him was Alex Vesia and Orion Kirkring. Anthony Molina of the Colorado Rockies getting some votes. Put up a really good season for the Colorado Rockies. I mean, he put up a 40-save season at age 23, 178 ERA plus, a 70 FIP minus for the Colorado Rockies. I mean, my God. And then in the American League, you have Duran winning the award for the Minnesota Twins, Gregory Santos behind him, Felix Bautista, Brian Abreu, and Andres Munoz also getting votes. And then when it comes to the Gold Glove Award winners, we did not have anybody on this list either. That's pretty, predictable. We had a very terrible defensive team this season. So, of course, we get nobody on this list. And then just so you can see, this is the American League Gold Glove Award winners. And then just to scroll through, I forgot to show the American League Silver Sluggers because we're not in that league and I don't really give a shit. But if you do, here are the winners. Hey, what do you know? It's the first thing I have ever received about the AFL. Never received anything saying anybody's on any roster. The first update I get about anybody who's actually in the AFL is that Joe Mack wins the AFL Most Valuable Player. That's cool. I would have liked to know that he was even in the AFL if I didn't find it out in the way that I did. But it is cool that Joe Mack wins MVP of the AFL. God damn. 185 WRC plus, 448 WOBA, 9 home runs, a 4-digit OPS with a 697 slugging. Pretty crazy. His ratings on paper don't exactly look that crazy, but he'll probably end up being our backup catcher this year unless we sign like a veteran guy because, even though he can't really catch, I guess we're just going to keep rolling with him. Even though he did have some good framing ratings at AAA for whatever reason. All right, folks, so we are here in free agency. You can see we have $89.7 million to spend, 83.9 for extensions. So we've got a decent amount of money that we could be putting into guys. I mean, we have a $39 million payroll. That could definitely get up. We could get that up to, I think the budget, he said like 90. So we have a lot of money to spend here, and we're not going to go spending it like crazily. We're not just going to be like, oh, Jock Peterson, sign you. But we will be definitely looking at some of these guys to try to improve our team. Like, first of all, shortstops. Bo Bichette. Not really a shortstop. No, not at all. Yeah. Not what you really want there as the best shortstop available. Like, there's Paul DeYoung, who I guess could give you some shortstop, but I mean, I'd rather probably just run Acosta than any of these guys. But what about the starting pitchers? Who are the best starters available? There is Chris Sale, who is coming off a torn flexor tendon in September, late September. So, yeah, $40 million and compensation. Don't think we're going to be signing 37-year-old Chris Sale by the time he's back from that. Not going to happen. Dylan Cease, compensation on him. We should probably edit some of this. Brandon Woodruff on a very team-friendly. He is fragile injury proneness, but high leader. Absolutely somebody who we could bring in as like a buy low, give us something sort of guy. You would also have like a super buy low in Jordan Montgomery here, coming off Tommy John. He has 5 months left on that. He should be back this season. It looks like he might have had a setback. He is not. So he'll be back next season, or this upcoming season rather, but like he's another guy who's one of these ones who has like okay control, okay movement, and then just the rest of his stuff looks like he'd be awful. Zach Gallen could be interesting for me. He's coming off a down season, but it's like a down season to where he had a bad ERA, but he had a serviceable FIP. I'm sure Nestor Cortez would love to pitch in Miami. The thing is, I don't think we want Nestor Cortez. He's another outspoken guy, not happening. I think we're going to go right ahead and offer Brandon Woodruff just because it's a no-brainer to me. I don't think 3 years with a third year being a team option, I think that's totally fine. But maybe we dock this down to like 5.5. maybe we go up to like 6 and then 6.5. Yeah. Give him a minimum innings bonus. Maybe give him like a little all-star bonus too. And he doesn't like that. What if we just dropped it all flat 6.5 team option? He'll want to buy out. Yep. Okay. He did not like that, but 1 year deal. He doesn't want to be tied up that long. 1 year, I'll give Brandon Woodruff a 1 year deal. Absolutely. Drop it into 6.5. Boom. 1 year, 6.5. We'll offer that Brandon Woodruff 100%. When it comes to position players, I don't want to block any of our young guys. So, like, I don't want to block second base for Lee. Third base is Mauricio, penciled in. Hale is center. I guess, like, corner outfield could be one of the spots we could possibly open up. Because, like, Drew Gilbert, right now, I'm looking into him to be, like, the fourth outfielder. And Jacob Marcy is back from... We could run him and Gilbert together, like, platooned in... Or not platooned, but, like, just splitting time in left field. But... I think I would prefer to have one of them in AAA as depth and one of them as the fourth outfielder, and then maybe sign like a big bopper bat who can also play like a solid left or right field for us. So if we take a look at all outfielders, not going to sign Ozuna because he can't play the outfield. Bellinger can, but he's also got compensation. Do we really want to give up a draft pick at this point in our rebuild? I don't think so. Kyle Tucker, same sort of thing. We're like, yes, Kyle Tucker is very intriguing, but I don't think we want to give up compensation. And if we did do it for anybody, it would be Kyle Tucker. He is from Florida. He's from Tampa, though, but that could be an option. Cedric Mullins is no compensation coming off a down offensive season, but interesting. Max Kepler could give you like a really good outfield coming off a 3-WAR season with the Phillies. So yeah, I think Kepler, or like if we go high side, Kyle Tucker. I mean, Kyle Tucker could be a huge splash move. You get Kyle Tucker on your team and suddenly you're talking big game here. Now he is coming off a down season, only a 2-WAR, like a slightly above league average WRC plus. I mean, that is a big drop-off. You go from being like this type of player to this type of player, that is a big drop-off. And the thing is, these numbers are all real life. So, you know, usually you want to be going off of what he does in-game as opposed to what he does in real life. But also you look at these ratings and you're like, this guy should be a ridiculous hitter. He wants a 6-year deal, player opted after 4. I don't know if we want to give up the comp, though, is the thing. You know, when I started this series, I had the intention of just operating as if we are a very small market club, because we are. But at the same time, like, we have such a small payroll right now, and not really any guys that, like, are coming down the... Like, Caba's really the only guy coming down the pipeline that we want to pay long term. All the rest of the guys, it's like Brooks Lee. Really. It's just Brooks Lee that we think. Brooks Lee and then maybe Ramirez are guys we want to pay long term. Boom. We're going to front load this thing to where we have all this money available for the next couple of years. We don't have any like huge extensions coming up. So we're going to front load this thing, 35 million, 34 million, then it drops down to 30, 28, 26 million for his age 33 season. We're not going to give him a 6th year. It's only going to be a 5-year deal. And now we're suddenly getting some more interesting offers for Otto Lopez here. Like, we're seeing some green ink pop up. The Tigers would give us Casey Mize, who is 1 year left. He just has this upcoming year at 6.2, and then he's heading to free agency. But I mean, that's a decent pitcher we could use. He's coming off a 3-WAR season. The Mets offering us David Peterson, who is on a 1-year deal. Christian Scott as well as a prospect. And then if I do multiplayer package with one of them being a starting pitcher, we get a couple decent ones here. The Mets offering Sean Manaea. Canario is like kind of interesting. He was more interesting when he was a Cubs. Wasn't he a Cubs prospect at one point? Yes, he was. Yeah. But Sean Manaea, I mean, he's Sean Manaea. High leader, high work ethic, left-handed pitcher, coming off like a 2-WAR season, solid player. And we would have him for 2 seasons at $22 million, which is fine. 34 and 35 years old for those seasons. He could be a solid player for us. I might want to like discuss this to be maybe I get more like a interesting reliever or something instead of Canario. And then the other one that's interesting me is the Cardinals here, who if I give them the pros outweigh the cons for Manaea, and then also he likes this. He likes this one too for Michael Wacha. Bendix does, but I prefer like Sonny Gray is just arguably the better pitcher. He is 36, though, the thing is. Coming off a season where he was very good, and it looks like he got he got surgery to remove bone chips at, like, the very end of the season, 9/26. So, yeah, like, the very end of the season, missed 6 to 7 months. He is coming off just a solid year, but ends with the surgery. So this was probably the best we could get out of the Cardinals here. If we give them Otto Lopez, they would give us Sonny Gray, who, like I said, is 36 years old, coming off a surgery to remove bone chips. I still think he could be a really good pitcher for at least this season. Who knows what next season's going to be like, but that also next season is a team option with a $0 buyout. So if he's really good for us, we'll probably opt into this, most likely. And then we also would get in Nathan Church, who's like a slap-hitting, really good defensive outfielder, just to have as like a guy in the system. He has 3 options. He would just be like in AAA for us. And then also just as a throw-in as like a potential depth starter, reliever sort of player, in Juan Panagua, something like that. we'll learn how to pronounce this at some point if we do get this guy, but coming off a good season in AA, was not good in AAA for the Cardinals. He's just kind of like another sort of like possible interesting arm to have in the organization. And now the Mets are just offering like an entirely different package, which would be Christian Scott as the main piece, Canario, and then Frankie Montas as just like a throw-in. But then, like, let's just say the Mets, we remove these guys. Would they give us Scott and Manaea? Would that be crazy? They would if we throw in somebody. I mean, it seems crazy to me that they would want to give us Sean Manaea and Christian Scott for Otto Lopez and Edward Cabrera. We have the trade difficulty cranked up to hard. This is as high as it could possibly be. We have this as our player evaluation AI settings, 40, 30, 20, 10. I think we're going to do this. I think this is the best we can do here. Christian Scott and Sean Manaea join our team. We give up Otto Lopez, trading from a strength. We were already looking to trade Edward Cabrera. He was not going to be a part of our rotation this year. And for whatever reason, when you drop him down a reliever, he actually gets worse. He has the 45 home runs allowed. He's outspoken, low leader, low adaptability. We get a guy like Christian Scott who comes in as a hard worker. Now, the thing is, we don't 100% know what he's like, so he could be a 45 potential. But still, that would be a 50. That would be Sean Manaea, who's like going to be a solid starter for us for 2 seasons. Let's do this, man. Pull the trigger on that. Christian Scott and Sean Manaea for Otto Lopez and Edward Cabrera. Boom. Just like that. Decreases slightly. Who gives a shit? Michael King. Why is he a bullpen guy? I guess because he was a bullpen guy for the Dodgers. Like, they must have been out of it, so I guess they were just trading an expiring contract. Exercised the opt-out. Became a free agent. For Teoscar. Now even more. I should have seen this before. I should have been looking here before. I would have signed him. I would have been going after him. So now if we bring in Woodruff and Michael King, 2 of these guys have to go to the bullpen. And we just signed Ryan Weathers to that team-friendly long-term thing. We've got Manaea for 2 years. Yuri Perez is 100% going to be a starter. Max Meyer, I mean, he expects to be a starter, but, like, he could be really good in the bullpen, but he's also really good starter potential. We don't know what Braxton Garrett's going to be like. He could be a really good stopper, though, honestly. I just feel like Michael King is too good of a player to pass up. Too good of a player, no compensation type. He wants 4 years, age 34, that would be a player option. I mean, look, like, we could give Michael King just like a flat $14 million. He'd probably accept that. He would. A flat $14 million for each year. 4 years, potentially $56.4 million. I'm doing this. I'm offering that. So far, we have been in the lead on everybody. Brandon Woodruff, though, has just got an offer from Texas that he likes more. Offer something more than minimum wage. I was giving you $6.5 million. That's all you need to counter that? So let's just be realistic about this. If we get Woodruff, Michael King, who now is listed as a starter. He's a 55 starter, which is really good. This is about, we also got our scouting back on Zach Gallen. He's a 55. So they're both 30. And I think I prefer Michael King. He's got better movement, better home run rate. He's got the better pitches. Yeah, he's just a better player. And then I still think Woodruff would be worth going after. So if we bring in both of those guys, plus the Manaea that we brought in, Christian Scott's probably going to be in the bullpen to start his first season for us. He could be like a really good stopper. We also went and offered Alexis Diaz, because I just like his profile. He's got nasty 2-pitch mix here, really good BABIP. He's got 55 home runs allowed to counteract the extreme fly ball. He's not even like a 20 stamina guy either. I mean, you put up a really good season like this as an extreme fly ball pitcher in Cincinnati, I'm looking at you to be like, hey man, come in and be our closer. And that's what we offered him. We offered him to be our closer. He's going to come in. We gave him a 2-year, but the second year is a team option. Folks, we've done it. We've lost a 3rd-round pick this season, but it's goddamn worth it because we have Kyle goddamn Tucker in Miami. Holy hell. The Miami Marlins are making splashes here. This is not how I envisioned going about our first offseason here in Miami, but there was just too much cap. There too much money to spend and too many players that were intriguing to us to not do this. And then, our owner wants us to win now. How's Kyle Tucker sound for you, Bruce Sherman? Bang, there's another one. Michael King has indeed signed with the Miami Marlins. We've got him on a $56 million deal over 4 years. That's $14 million AAV. Michael King is going to come in and be an absolutely great starter for us. We're cooking a bit here, folks, in the offseason. Folks, we have been absolutely shafted by the MLB draft lottery. You can see here, we had the 3rd best odds. We are not even in the top 6. The Toronto Blue Jays had the 10th best odds, and they have the number 1 overall pick. I mean, we drop from the 3rd best odds down to the 7th pick. Blue Jays go from 10 to 1. I mean, just brutal. All the top 3 odds got screwed. The Royals dropped down to our spot. They only dropped 1 spot, though. The White Sox go from 1 to 4. We go from 3 to 7. I mean, what the? They had the worst odds, and they get the number 1 overall pick. All right, so now the Tigers are going after Woodruff. We would have to get up into the $9 million range. Yeah, we're just not doing that. So Tinoco survives. Woodruff's not going to be a member of the Miami Marlins. So a bit of an up and down player development update here at the start of February, right before spring training. Ryan Weathers, his movement goes up, but his potential velocity drops. Still 96 to 98, though, so still very good. Yuri Perez, unfortunately, his potential movement and his current stamina... Wait. Why did his current stamina just randomly drop? What? He had no injuries or anything, and his stamina drops from 40 to 30, just out of nowhere. Okay, well, I guess he's a reliever now. Angel Perdomo also had a huge drop. His velocity dropped. his current and potential stuff. Luckily, it's still pretty decent, but the home runs allowed is not great. The control still not great. Andrew Nardi also dropped his stamina from 30 to 25. His current stuff goes down. He's now down to a 45 overall. Alexis Diaz, we did end up signing him, and he goes down. Luckily, it's not a ton, and he still has a bunch of green and blue, but it still does go down. Joe Mack, though, goes up a bunch. Potential power, current defensive rating at catcher even goes up. He'll be our backup catcher this year. It says he wants to start, but him and Ramirez are obviously very similar offensive first catchers, and we're not gonna. He'll probably play like a decent amount, but he's not gonna be starting. That's for sure. Graham Pauley, his gap goes up for whatever reason. That means his potential goes down. Max Acosta, his current contact and his potential gap both go up. Griffin Conine's defensive rating in right field drops, and his current and potential gap also drop, and he's now a 45 potential player. Not good. Also, he is going to play left field for us because Kyle Tucker is playing right field. I also just wanted to show the 4 players that we got in the international free agent period this season. We are not going to be offering any more players. These are the 5 guys we get. So if we go ahead and take a look, why do I have gap potential on this? I don't know why I added gap potential, but whatever. Jorge Garza is the cream of the crop with this class here. He is an 80 grade potential, extreme development risk, but he is 17 years old. He just turned 17, lefty guy out of Venezuela, 65 range, really good speed. He has adaptability, work ethic, baseball IQ. He's got the holy trinity. He even has low financial ambition, potential 85 gap power and avoid K. The power in the eye isn't there, but if he develops, Jorge the Dream Garza here could be really, really, really good. Jose Lara, another outfielder we went out and got, is a high contact, high eye sort of player with the trifecta here as well. He is a corner, though. We'll just go ahead and straight up make him a left fielder. It bumps him to a 60 as well. So Jose Lara, we signed him. Oh, also, he signed him for $1.4 million. Garza was $1.8 million. Chris Ramirez here is a reliever with 60 potential, only average scouting, though. And high adaptability, high work ethic, high control potential, fastball changeup combo here. 16 years old, super far away. He was $320,000 with the bonus. And then Rico Vergin here out of Venezuela, a right-handed pitcher with really high movement and home runs allowed, high adaptability. He is 16 years old, and he was $700,000. So those are the 4 players we signed here in the international free agent period this offseason. Alrighty, folks, it is March 24th. We are still a bit away from our opening day, but it is technically opening day here on March 24th. And we decided to clear our roster. We have no more games. We have our roster set here, our 26-man roster. But before we get into that, let's just do a quick recap of our offseason. So to start things off, we went and re-signed all of our arbitration guys. The 2 biggest ones was Derek Hill. We re-signed to a 2-year deal. He is now signed through this year at $3.75 million and next year at $5.7 million to be our center fielder for at least 2 more seasons. Then we also signed a 6-year extension for Ryan Weathers to a very team-friendly deal where it's all below $10 million. It's 2.2, then 4, then 5.9, then 7.5 for 2 years. And then for age 31 season, it's a team option at 8.5 for the $2 million buyout. These last 3 seasons, age 29, 30, and 31, are all free agency years. So the first 3 are buying out the rest of his arbitration, and then it's 3 years of free agency. So Ryan Weathers is locked up with us for 6 seasons. Then we went and traded Calvin Fauché. We actually got an offer from the Texas Rangers that we thought was just too interesting to pass up. Emiliano Teodo as a younger, high-stuff reliever. Unfortunately, he pitched like 1 spring training game and just blew out his elbow. So Emiliano Teodo not going to be pitching for us this season. Hopefully he's not totally screwed when he comes back from the injury next year. Then we made a big trade with the New York Mets where we traded Otto Lopez and Edward Cabrera to the Mets. They are both on their, obviously, opening day team here. Both of those guys made the Mets opening day roster, and then we get Christian Scott and Sean Manaea in return to bolster our pitching staff. Sean Manaea is in our rotation. He has 2 more years left at $22 million this year and next year at age 34 and 35. And then we also got Christian Scott, who is a prospect, older prospect though, almost 27 years old, currently in the bullpen for us, but if we do need a starter at some point, he is like the first guy we're looking at. Then, once free agency opened, we made a big splash. First thing was first, we signed Kyle Tucker to a 5-year, $153 million contract. Kyle Tucker, we needed a guy who can play a really good corner outfield and add some pop to our lineup. What's better than Kyle Tucker at that? So he comes in here. He is coming off a little bit of a down season, but still a productive player. We're hoping that he's going to do something more than this for us. Hopefully he does. And it's a front-loaded deal where it's $35 million, 34, then it drops to 30, and then it's 28, and then 26. No options, no opt-outs, just 5 years straight up front-loaded. Hopefully he's a big pickup for us, and we have a much better offense this year. Then we also went out and got a couple pitchers. First one was Michael King. We went out and signed him to be a starter for us. He was a starter for San Diego, struggled for them, got traded at the deadline to Los Angeles, the Dodgers, and he was good in their bullpen. He was available in free agency, so we signed him after he opted out with the Dodgers, became a free agent, and we signed him to a 4-year deal through 2029. It's 3 years with a 4th-year team option, all $14 million for every single year. Just a flat thing. The buyout is $1.4 million for that 4th season if we decide not to bring him back for that year. But at the very least, we have him for 3. He is one of our best pitchers. We're hoping he can be a very solid starter for us as we look to improve the team this year. Then in the Rule 5, we also picked up Jack Neely and Juan Nunez. Juan Nunez turned out to be a shitty pitcher. He was a 50 potential starter when we took him in the draft. He just has this free fall where he started off as a 65 potential, and now he's down to a 40 potential in the span of a year, a calendar year. So we sent him back to the Baltimore organization. They're the Chesapeake Bay Sox now. They're not the Bowie Bay Sox. That's despicable. And then Jack Neely, he came to our team in the Rule 5 draft, and we also were like, hey, I didn't really like what he was offering, and we just had some guys we preferred more than him in the team. So he made it through spring training, but he did not make it to the Major League roster. So we just kept some other guys instead of him, and then we sent him back to the Cubs. And you can see here, it looks like he's actually made the Cubs. Or no, well, I did just send him back, so he's probably on their waivers right now, and they haven't decided what to do with him. And then we also signed Alexis Diaz to a 2-year contract worth $2.6 million. We told him that he would be our closer. He expects to be the closer. These ratings still look pretty decent. This was 50 when we signed him. And you can see he's coming off a very good season with Cincinnati, 58 in the 3rd innings pitched, 184 ERA plus, 85 FIP minus, and he's doing that with a 1.1 home run per 9 in Cincinnati. So, extreme fly ball guy putting together a year like that in Cincinnati, I feel like he's probably a guy who could come in here and pitch pretty damn well for us. And now taking a look at who is actually on our 26-man roster to start the season here in 2026. Our starting rotation 1 to 5 is Michael King, getting the opening day start for us. Then Sean Manaea, Ryan Weathers, Braxton Garrett, and Max Meyer is the 1 to 5. In the bullpen, it is going to be Alexis Diaz, listed as the closer, 8th plus later usage, high leverage secondary role with 2 stoppers in Yuri Perez and Christian Scott. That's another thing I forgot to mention is that Yuri Perez, just for whatever reason, no injury or anything, and just stamina dropped down to 30. We can see here on his scouting, just out of nowhere in January, stamina drops from 40 to 30. Now he's a reliever. So Yuri Perez in our bullpen as a stopper with Christian Scott. Then we have Andrew Nardi and Anthony Bender as setup, 6th or later, middle relief secondary role, and then 3 middle relief options in Jordan Balazovic, we have Manuel Rodriguez and Cody Funderburk. Funderburk with a lefty specialist role secondary. Balazovic with a long relief secondary role, and then Manuel Rodriguez with a setup secondary role. So those are the pitchers. Now take a look at the hitters here in Miami. Right-handed lineup, it's going to be Brooks Lee playing second base, Kyle Tucker in right field, Agustin Ramirez catching, Griffin Conine in left, Connor Norby DHing, Ronnie Mauricio third base, Graham Pauley first base, Derek Hill catching, and Max Acosta playing shortstop. You can actually see he's actually gone up. His turn DP is now up to 60, so maybe he's going to be a bit better of a defensive shortstop for us this season. At least we can hope for that. And then on the bench, it's going to be Joe Mack as our backup catcher. He is playing every fourth game. Davison De Los Santos is our backup first baseman. Xavier Edwards is backup utility. And then Drew Gilbert is the fourth outfielder. You can see here Mack's going to play every fourth game at catcher. And then when he's catching, Agustin Ramirez still in the lineup as a DH, DHing every fourth game. And then against lefties, the only thing that changes is that Davison De Los Santos becomes our first baseman, and then Joe Mack, who is a lefty hitter, does not sub in every fourth day, and it's just Agustin playing against lefties. You can see De Los Santos, right-handed bat. He can hack it against both, but he's definitely better against lefties, whereas Graham Pauley is definitely better against right-handed pitching. So we get De Los Santos in there on the short side platoon, give Pauley those days off, and get the righty in the lineup. We should also mention, if we take a look at the programs here, the first set of programs that we did, not a ton of improvements, but a couple. Ronnie Mauricio, no noticeable changes on his power improvement. Brooks Lee, no noticeable change in his plate discipline. Norby, no noticeable change on his plate discipline. Davison De Los Santos, unfortunately, did have his BABIP and his power drop by 5. They still have the potential to go back up, but unfortunately it's now 50 and 55 there for BABIP and power. Still decent, but it was 60 in the power. Then there was Sam Bachman, who did successfully improve his movement by 5. He's actually started the year for us in AAA with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. And then Drew Gilbert, unfortunately, did not change his power. Josh Eknes did have some movement rating go up by 5. He's also starting the year in AAA Jacksonville. Then we had Wilfredo Lara, who had an outstanding improvement. Potential power goes up by less than 5. Current power goes up by 5. When I was looking at this, it didn't seem like it went up, but it says it did. He had a positive outcome in the development lab. He's now a 50 potential as well. Starting the year in AAA, we're excited to see how he can develop for us. Xavier Edwards, no improvement for him when it comes to the gap power. Thomas White was successful in improving his control by less than 5. You can see he's starting the year in AAA as well. Agustin Ramirez, excelling. Oh no, this is the defensive. So the first set of guys, that was all 10 of them. And then for the second set of programs, we had Agustin Ramirez improved his defense at catcher. His arm went up by less than 5, while the ability and the framing went up by 5. So you can see here he's now, once again, I don't understand. It says it went up by 5. This was 55 beforehand. So why is it not 60 now? Who knows? But it does say that he went up. So hopefully he's going to be better defensively this season for us, even if, according to this should be 60, but it's not. Joe Mack also successful. All 3 of these improved by less than 5, and you could see his framing actually did go up. So I don't know why his went up, but Ramirez's didn't. I don't know. It's whatever. And then Connor Norby, no improvement for his defense. Griffin Conine, outstanding improvement at outfield defense. His arm, range, and error went all up by 5, so he's going to be playing left field for us with Tucker in right, Derek Hill in center. We're primed to have a good defensive outfield this season, at least on paper. Gabriel Gonzalez, we threw him there trying to improve his defense. Unfortunately, no improvement. Same with Max Acosta. He had no improvement in the lab, but for whatever reason, it did go up in his ratings. So who knows what that's about. Xavier Edwards, no defensive change for him. And then Brooks Lee learned a new position. He played first base. His double play rating also goes up a bit. You can see his shortstop's now up to 55. That's why he's our second shortstop whenever Acosta needs a rest. And then Edwards is the guy behind him at shortstop. Peyton Eales, he learned how to play first base. Both of these ratings go up by less than 5. He's starting the year in AAA Jacksonville. We'll be interested to see if he breaks onto the team this season. Wilfredo Lara, no improvement to learning new position. I guess the guy couldn't even learn first base or left field. Who knows why, but Wilfredo Lara could not even learn a new position. And then last but not least, the preseason predictions here for 2026. The Baltimore Orioles projected to win 98 wins. Projected to win 98 ball games and run away with the American League East Division with a 10-game lead. The Guardians projected to win the Central with a 2-game lead in front of the Minnesota Twins, both of them with 87 and 85 wins respectively, sub 90. The Texas Rangers projected to win 102 games in the AL West, beating out the defending World Series champions, Seattle Mariners. And then on the National League side of things, you've got the Braves projected to win the AL East, the Mets behind them with 87 wins, the Phillies with 81, and then they have us at 77. So they have it as a tight division this year. It is totally feasible that this 77 could flip to 85. You know, we could go 85 and 77. That is absolutely within the realm of possibility. Now, this is not projections. This is not like Fangraphs million substitute. This is not like a million projections all put together and like, here's what's happening. This is just one single sim. So one single sim that the engine did had us at 77 and 85. But, you know, who knows what another sim would have done. We'll have to see. I am confident this team is better than last year. I'm hopeful that we can be a scrappy team this year. I don't expect us to be World Series champions, but do I think we could like compete for a wild card? Absolutely, if things go right. In the NL Central, the Brewers are projected to win that division by quite a lot with 93 wins, Cubs behind them, and then the Dodgers are projected to win 101 games. I know I keep saying projections just because that's just the word I use in my head, but this is not. This is just one single sim. This is a prediction. And then, once again, we get no respect in the top pitchers or hitters. They don't think that Kyle Tucker is going to be any one of these top hitters. They think Christian Encarnacion Strand is going to be a better hitter than Kyle Tucker this season. Pretty disrespectful, if you ask me. And they don't think we have anybody in the top pitchers either. So that wraps things up here for the offseason episode, and we are ready to embark on the 2026 campaign here in Miami as the Marlins will look to soar this season.